Back when the 2022 fall anime season began, we were sure Chainsaw Man and Bleach would blow away the competition together. But little did we know that a certain anime about an anxious pink-haired rock star would win all of our hearts. That's right, it's Bocchi The Rock. Our channel primarily focuses on action-heavy shounen anime, but no matter what you're into, it's always important to watch a wide array of genres. And honestly, Bocchi The Rock is a lot more than just your typical slice-of-life anime. At first, it looked like a pretty standard show that could be easily described as something like Komi Can't Communicate meets K-On! But Bocchi The Rock can't be described so simply. Let's get into it and see what makes this anime so great. If you've been living under a rock, pun intended, here's a quick plot summary. Hitori Goto is a high school girl with crippling social anxiety. She's got no friends outside of her family, but a passion for the guitar. One day she's taken in by a band looking for a new guitarist. All of a sudden, Hitori finds herself making new friends and playing in an amateur band. They even nickname her Bochi. If you like the sound of that, we seriously recommend watching Bocchi The Rock right away. It's only 12 episodes, but if you're still not convinced, stick around. Unlike most shows we cover, there's not exactly anything to spoil since Bocchi The Rock is primarily a comedy. At the center of the anime is, of course, Bocchi herself. It's a heartwarming story about her trying to overcome her social issues and truly make friends. As we said, it often gets compared to Komi Can't Communicate, which similarly has a protagonist with poor social skills. But we think Bocchi has an advantage over Komi, since we actually see most of the series from her perspective. Meanwhile, in Komi, the story is told from Tadano's point of view. And while Bocchi is primarily a comedy, there are plenty of serious emotional moments too. Bocchi's social anxiety is played off as a joke most of the time, but at the same time, we do see how it really affects her. Like one surprisingly dark moment where Bocchi imagines herself as an unemployed alcoholic with no friends in the future. Even some of the jokes can get kinda dark, like one moment where Bocchi falls into a depression after none of her friends spend time with her over summer break. So she ends up incoherently mumbling to herself and building graves for cicadas. It's hilarious, but also surprisingly dark. Of course, this anime isn't a drama. Most of the time, it's a really fun comedy, and what makes it work so well are the characters around Bocchi. Her supporting cast perfectly works off of Bocchi's shy personality. First is Nijika, the drummer for the band and the one who recruited Bocchi in the first place. She's got a happy-go-lucky personality, but is a lot smarter than you'd initially think. She's a talented musician and knows a lot about the inner workings of the indie music scene. Of course, her cheerful personality tends to intimidate Bocchi. Then there's Rio, the band's bassist and the one who gave Bocchi her nickname. She's definitely the wild card of the group. She's got a stoic personality, and it's hard to tell when she's being serious and when she's just messing with people. Like that time she's seen eating grass, and nobody knows if she can't afford to eat anything else or if she's just playing a joke on them. And rounding out our band is the lead singer, Kita. She's got a cheerful personality like Nijika, but is somehow even more bright and positive, to the point where her happy aura blinding Bocchi is a running gag. She's also not as smart as Nijika either. The whole reason she joined the band was because she had a crush on Rio. She actually had no idea how to play the guitar before even joining. Together, the four of them work off each other perfectly. Bocchi is overwhelmed by Nijika and Kita's positivity and confused by pretty much everything about Rio. It's amazing. The comedy isn't just from the character dynamics either. Bocchi The Rock has some of the best visuals we've seen in any slice-of-life anime, or maybe even any anime as a whole. The creative team for the anime goes above and beyond when it comes to the animation. The way the show is animated adds so much to every single joke that they tell. Plus, a lot of the jokes expand on scenes from the manga. One of the most iconic scenes in Bocchi The Rock is this moment, where Bocchi's body basically turns into a computer glitch. In the manga, Bocchi's reaction was much calmer, but we think seeing her freak out like this was a huge improvement. Not only that, but the anime gets borderline experimental with some of its gags. For example, one scene has Bocchi throwing up, but instead of showing that, it cuts to real-life stock footage of dams around Japan. Or when Bocchi talks about how she hates sports festivals, we get a stop-motion sequence followed by an incredibly surreal animated scene that's done in a totally different style. The weirdest example of this is probably the gag from the 11th episode, where Bocchi inexplicably turns into a low-poly CG render and goes flying into a bunch of untextured gray blocks. It's so random and out of nowhere that we just can't help but laugh. Now, another anime that Bocchi The Rock gets compared to a lot is the classic slice of life series K-On! This is mainly because both series focus on groups of girls who love playing music together. Funnily enough, Bocchi's shy personality was actually chosen as a conscious effort to make her different from K-on's protagonistic Yui. Earlier drafts for the Bocchi manga even had her with a more cheerful personality, but we're glad that they went with her new shy personality instead. It helps her stand out more. So far, Bocchi The Rock has had only a single 12-episode season, but it was still able to include a lot of fun moments and the character development for Bocchi. It's a really uplifting story in a lot of ways. When we first meet Bocchi, the only people she has in her life are her family, and she isn't exactly able to relate to her 5-year-old sister either, so whenever Bocchi's at school, she feels truly alone. Her only hobby is playing the guitar and uploading guitar covers to YouTube, and the only social interaction she gets comes from the comments on her videos. She is basically 3 steps away from being a total shut-in. Even after she meets Nijika, her social skills take a while to improve. She only joins the band because she's too meek to reject the offer and spends her entire first performance hiding inside of a box of mangoes. But as the story goes on, we see Bocchi open up more to her friends. It's a slow process and more than a little subtle. But the Bocchi at the end of the series is different from the Bocchi at the start. Granted, Bocchi does freeze up while talking to strangers, but now she has a circle of friends who care about her, and she doesn't feel as alone anymore. The change in Bocchi's personality is definitely noticeable when you compare their first and last performances as a band. The first time has Bocchi hiding in a box like we just had mentioned, but their concert in the last episode has Bocchi staying calm and improvising when her guitar string breaks. It's a huge difference, and seeing Bocchi grow like this is honestly heartwarming. And of course, another amazing thing about Bocchi The Rock is the music. Thanks to the central focus of the anime being rock music, this anime has an amazing soundtrack. Anime that are focused around music like Beck, Zombieland Saga, and of course, K-On! Always tend to have great soundtracks, and this one's no exception. All of the songs performed by Bocchi's band are great, especially the one in the last episode. Not only that, but the OP and the multiple ending songs are great as well. It may just be one of the best slice-of-life anime we've seen in ages. It's got great characters, amazing comedy, a fantastic soundtrack, and stellar visuals. In fact, it may just be a contender for the best anime of 2022. We're also hoping that Bocchi The Rock gets a second season. Fingers crossed, because it absolutely deserves it. We'd be more than happy to see the continued adventures of Bocchi, Nijika, Ryo, and Kita. There's still plenty of manga left for a potential second season to adapt. But even if there is no season 2, we're just happy that this anime got made in the first place. Bocchi The Rock is one of those anime that we think truly stand the test of time.